Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Nightstalker podcast. Before we begin the episode, I have to make a disclaimer due to the nature of the topics we will be talking about on this show. Please note that we will be talking about cruelty and violence that may offend some people, as well as religious context and imagery that may be inappropriate to some. Thank you for listening and enjoy as we dive into this episode of our podcast.
Good evening, and welcome to the Nightstalker podcast. I am your host, the Nightstalker.
I'm the Professor.
Yeah, Smokey.
Alright, another week, another closing of the books. We're almost out of February.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe
Spring is here.
Spring? It really is. It's so warm. Like, you really just think it's about to be spring.
It's false spring.
Yeah, for
False
real.
spring.
It's false spring leading into second winter.
I wouldn't be surprised if by May...
I'll be mad if it flips back like that.
It just freezes. Especially with all your plants you have. You'd probably be like, what the hell?
Didn't like 2 years ago, there's like random ass snow.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Actually, yeah, it was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We just said the name of the thing. Okay, I'll cross that out.
Wait. Let's just start over.
Okay.
No, I don't mean seriously.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, we can do this, you know, it's not like anyone has Google or anything. So, let me ask you boys something. Oh wait, I just gave it away that we're men.
Get out of here.
Oh no, my secret is now revealed.
Damn it!
It's all good, I can switch.
2020, baby!
Baby!
Let me ask you guys this. What is probably one of the scariest monsters to you? Like something where you're like, if I had to face that out of like every other thing, I just would nope right out of there.
Something that's like relentless for me. Like just, you can't get away from.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that movie, It Follows?
I haven't seen It Follows, but I heard about it.
Yeah, something like that. That movie's crazy.
For me, it was always the aliens, the xenomorphs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they're the perfect weapon. I mean,
like the one from Alien?
yeah, from Alien.
Okay,
Yeah. Of course, demons are pretty relentless too.
I think the science aliens were scarier to me.
Really, over the xenomorphs?
Because they were, like, more mysterious, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like an alien's going to be more so, like, a mysterious alien, not, like, an animalistic, like, predator alien. You know what I mean? Like, that's too much. I feel like the alien in Aliens is, like, almost like, he's like a beast, you know what I mean? Like, clearly in the storyline, it goes to tell you that he's not, like, he's almost been engineered, you know what I mean? So it's not like the alien is going to make a ship come to see us on Earth, you know what I mean, and get out the ship and then just start like attacking everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's going down like that, but I feel like the aliens and signs were a little more scary because they just kind of showed up, and then like half the aliens left for some odd reason they never explained. You know what I mean? Which I think could happen. Aliens could come and then just kind of like be like, oh shit, you know what I mean, and then nip off. But then they left some of them, you know what I mean, and then like this movie, but yeah, I thought that was way more. Even though Alien AVP and stuff is like pretty scary, but it's more like just the pop out scares to me. Like I wasn't scared after the fact. You know what I mean?
Well, I think Aliens are the best examples, but we're not here talking about movies. What we are going to talk about today is zombies. Zombies. I know someone probably just rolled their eyes like, oh god, not this again.
Here we go again. Zombies. We were oversaturated with zombies a few years ago. With what, The Walking Dead being like a huge thing?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had all the spin-offs and the like little...
Yeah, Fear the Walking Dead. That were trying to capitalize
on it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, zombies really hit their pride in terms of pop culture when Zombieland came out back in 2009. Mm-hmm. Like, Zombieland came out, and I'm pretty sure Black Ops 2 came out around the same time, and Zombies on that was the fire. And Walking Dead came out, like, in 2010.
Didn't, like, The Last of Us come out? Is that about zombies?
Yeah, yes, it is. That was around the same time.
Around the same time, yeah. I was like, 08. I think Last of Us is like 08.
Yeah. Like how Slender Man was a big thing in like 06, was it? Or whenever Marble Hornets came out?
When was that? That was maybe 09. I think that was around 2009.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, and then of course last year they released the movie, and it's just like that should have came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like the whole hype got missed.
No, yeah. When it comes to that marketing and stuff, you have to know when to do stuff and when to stop a trend. And I feel like that's what happens with zombie and pop culture. Because then movies like Warren Zombie,
Vampires did the same thing.
Vampires did the same thing. They were really big in the 90s.
Yeah, 80s, 90s,
80s?
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. Dude, I love that movie. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah.
No, that's my homeboy Ramon. I don't know if you ever met my boy Ramon. This older boy, I was older dude. He's like 30, but he's like 34. So like when he was growing up, like that movie had like just kind of come out and stuff. Like that's his favorite movie. He's like black dude like me. But he's like, bro, I love the Lost Boys. He knows all the songs and everything. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. That's my mom's favorite like Halloween movie. Like when growing up, whenever it was like Halloween time, we'd be watching kind of like more like horror-ish movies. Like it's not like we played anything that was too explicit, but Lost Boys was like her favorite movie.
Dude, I never watched a scary movie. I think in Halloween we always watch like Nightmare Before Christmas, but then we do the same thing on Christmas because like.
Well, yeah, that's why that movie's great. You can watch it like 3 months straight in a row. But then all the emo boys ruined The Nightmare Before Christmas. And it's just like, come on, this movie was great. And then, like, Hot Topic just had to kill it.
Yeah, Hot Topic and all the trends and all the little bad here.
But my question is, do you know where the zombie lore actually first comes from?
I do not.
Where do they come from, Nightstalker?
Well, you know, as an avid stalker of the night, you know, will hunt anything that goes, bump in the night. My services are available for anyone who's listening. Zombies actually, the idea of it comes from voodoo in like Haitian culture. The whole idea would be, well, there's 2 ways. One was, pardon me, that you would reanimate the dead. So you brought them back through like voodoo, and now they're your slave. You know, they're just this mindless walking body. You tell them what to do. Go sweep my house or something. Mm-hmm. The other part of it was to enslave the living. Usually you would make some type of potion, or you would do some type of voodoo ritual, and now you got the living, you got them under your control. There's an old movie called White Zombie. And for any metalhead listening, yes, that is where Rob Zombie got not just Rob Zombie, or the zombie part, it's also where he got the band name White Zombie. Back in, like, 1933, Bela Lugosi played this, like, voodoo doctor, and he was enslaving he had the dead working for him, and he enslaved some of the living. So that was a good example of, like, the old zombie, like, the lore and everything. You know, and like I said, it mainly comes from that voodoo type of thing. And, you know, what's crazy is a lot of these places, if you went to, like, Haiti, and you maybe tried asking, like, yeah, like, you ever seen someone try to reanimate? I don't really know if they call them zombies. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they have their own name for it. But if you did ask about it, they'd probably get, you know, kind of mad, like, hey, don't talk about that stuff, man. You know, you're dealing with dark forces now. And I think even if you went to New Orleans is a weird place when it comes to the supernatural. Yeah. Like, I'm not talking just zombie, like voodoo, I'm talking vampires as well. Apparently New Orleans is this weird hotspot for just paranormal stuff.
Got a lot of weird energies going on there.
Got a lot of weird energies going on around there. You've been, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was actually there a few months before Katrina.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that. That's actually pretty crazy.
Like right before the whole storm season, you know what I mean? Like I was there because I think the storm season out there comes like kind of like right after summer.
Yeah, hurricane season.
Hurricane season. It's like right when it's still kind of warm. That's how they get the hurricanes. Like the warm plus the cold air coming from the season change.
Yeah, mixes.
Yeah, so I was out there for the summertime doing a track event, and a few months later, I'm watching on TV like where I ran. What the heck? This is crazy. You know
yeah, that's actually really nuts.
That time for the just the whole area was really bad. Because didn't they, like, another hurricane hit? Like,
after
right
Katrina?
right after?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like either that. I think either that year or like the year after when they were still like rebuilding. Like they were just getting to start to. Because that was like a whole 5 to 10 years of like work to like they were still talking about it 5 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it was,
and all the work that had to be done.
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember. I forget what year. It might have been around like 2009. It's when the Superdome opened back up and the Saints played their first game there. Mm-hmm. It was huge because it was their first game, and the first, ball gets kicked off to them, and whoever it was got the ball and ran it in right for a touchdown on the kickoff. Mm. And so I remember that was really
That's
huge
hardly ever seen too.
for the Saints for New Orleans because it's their team playing and first play of the game, run it right in on the kickoff. So I remember that was a huge game for them. But zombies that we see now in pop culture, really George A. Romero is the mastermind behind that because he made Night of the Living Dead, and that's when he reinvented the whole genre. He went away from the lore.
Is there anything like pre Night of the Living Dead that is?
Well, there was White Zombie. That was pretty big with Bela Lugosi. 33. Okay. So Night of the Living Dead is like 50.
Before sound?
No, there was sound. Yeah. What, you never seen an old movie?
No, but I'm saying, like, you have the ones where it's like before sound, where like in between like the scenes, it's little writing, like
yeah, I know what you mean.
Instead of
we had sound,
like
we had sound in the 30s. Yeah,
you know what I mean, like 20s, early 30s. You got the opera playing
yeah.
So that
you're thinking like Nosferatu, that really old vampire movie where it's just pretty much all quiet. It's just nothing but like music and
and then you see him and he'll do something, and then after it'll be the dialogue.
Yeah. That was Nosferatu was 1917, I want to say
something early like that.
Very early, and a lot of people say that's the first vampire movie. Because Nosferatu is loosely based on Dracula. Mm-hmm. And of course, Dracula.
He's not named Dracula, but he's doing like Dracula things.
Yeah. And then Dracula with Bela Lugosi, Mr. that didn't come out until around the same time as White Zombie, so probably the early 30s. Dracula came out, and then they spawned sequels and this and that. But zombie movies before Night of the Living Dead, I know of White Zombie, and honestly, there is probably more, but none are really popping into my head at the moment. Mm-hmm. I just remember White Zombie being like a real big one that was like looked at the time. And then, like I said, not until maybe the genre just didn't really take off until Night of the Living Dead, because now we have
the first movie I can think of. You know what I mean? That kind of is straight like this is a zombie movie.
Yeah.
I mean, not just like there's a zombie coming or something, but this is a zombie movie.
And that movie was huge on a lot of things. One, everyone always kind of goes, isn't there like a bunch of Night of the Living Dead remakes? Mm-hmm. But number two is the reason for that is this. George A. Romero couldn't get that movie financed. So when he made it not for free, but it was under public domain. And that's why there's so many remakes of it. Because we could literally right now make a Night of the Living Dead remake.
Yeah, there's certain like genres or certain movie characters that could be easily taken and made.
Yeah, we can literally, if we wanted to, make a Night of the Living Dead remake. There's nothing stopping us from it or using the name.
Rights to the name.
Yeah, no one has the rights to it.
The Mummy, zombies, I think. Dracula, even I think, and the werewolf.
Those would be
vampire.
under the old Universal Pictures House of Horror. So
Universal
those technically we couldn't just make a Dracula movie.
Yeah, but you can
or the Mummy.
I think you can make a vampire. I think
we can make a vampire movie.
You can make a werewolf movie, but you might not be able to use like Dracula's or names, but the use of the character kind of is like different. You know what I mean? Versus like
you can make a ripoff, obviously, of like.
I feel like it wouldn't be necessarily like a ripoff though.
Like I said, we couldn't go out and make a Dracula movie, even if we. Made it where it's like Dracula, but it's like modern times. It's like that still doesn't fly. It would have to be
what if it's
different names and stuff.
Just like it's vampire, like
Edward,
like Underworld, like the Underworld series.
Yeah, no, you would have to make your own
Dracula
theme.
has a whole. He's a movie. He's in one of the movies, but like very clearly, it's not like about like.
No, yeah, I feel what you mean there. Yeah, you could have like a cameo or a character name, maybe not as your main character as Dracula, but at the same time, I just feel like the name Dracula has its copyrighted. Where even in Underworld, they probably had to go to the studio, whoever has that right, and be like, "Hey, can we use the name?"
Yeah. Is that why the name Alucard became a thing? Because like
it's Dracula backwards.
Dracula?
Yeah, but
that might. Don't quote me on this, but that might have come from one of the old Dracula sequels where he didn't tell his name and he said it was Alucard.
Yeah.
And
like
he
used to say he was Alucard.
Yeah, and it's just
like
it
when
backwards.
he's talking to certain humans, like, and he was like interacting in the human world, kind of, he would go as Alucard.
Oh, okay.
But
we actually watched we watched a real good little Dracula.
Oh, on Netflix.
That little miniseries.
Oh,
wasn't that kind of good though? Like
it
was just a hidden gem that I just found.
So you want to know what's really funny? So he stood the night, and it was Sunday going to Monday. So I'm sleeping, and for whatever reason, I woke up at like 4:30, and I couldn't get back to sleep. But I heard he was up, so I came out here, and he's like, "What's up with you?" And I'm like, "Just can't get back to sleep. What are you doing? Watching Dracula." So I watched this. I watched this series with him. Get ready for work and leave. But I caught like
finished it though, didn't you?
I think I finished 2 of the 3 episodes because that was like 2 hours worth, and then it was like 6:30. So I'm like, all right, I gotta get ready for work.
Yeah, you were like getting ready when it was finished.
Yeah, I think I came out here brushing my teeth, still watching, or I was like shaving, still watching. But back to zombies, though. Night of the Living Dead is a huge milestone for zombies because, one, it reinvented the genre. Mm-hmm. A lot of people watch it the first time, don't catch it because it's not said by characters, it's on the TV playing. But the whole reason why the zombies were rising out of the grave is because some meteor or like a ship crashed onto Earth, and it's whatever radiated from it brought them back. It's not caught unless you're paying attention and you watch it and it's on the TV, and then you're like, oh, that's why.
That's what I kind of liked about that specific Night of the Living Dead, and they kind of tried to redo this whole premise, but like the whole premise that like it's not really a big deal how the zombies came, but they're here. And
exactly, yeah. The purpose of them coming wasn't huge.
Yeah,
it was the fact that they were there.
Whereas you get some zombie movies where it's like the whole premise is like trying to find the cure, beat the virus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we just like trying to survive, and like this is where we're at. You know what I mean? Whereas like I like the whole like premise of Night of the Living Dead. It's like we're just in the shack. Yeah, we're just trying to make it.
And I'm not one for virtual signaling or anything like that, but something about the movie that was big was that the 2 lead characters were a black male and a female. At the time, because that's 57,
Oh yeah, you don't see black men with a white woman.
Well, that, but also they were the leading roles. Yeah. What's her name? Barbara.
Stuff going on back then.
Yeah. So, that was something that was kind of big at the time. Where it was like, whoa, the main character is this chick and this black guy, And I'm trying to think if there's any other thing that's really big about that movie besides just how it reinvented the genre. But just as an old movie, I think it holds up.
I think it was filmed pretty well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't filmed to the point where I can't stand, like, the effects. I can't stand watching it.
No, the effects were another thing that made it really good. I mean, obviously, the zombies just have on your standard makeup and ain't anything too special.
But they're not relying on, like, jump scares.
Yeah, it didn't rely on the jump scares. And even if there were any, it would have been the first type of film to really have a jump scare. So for the time, that would have been groundbreaking. Also, when they were eating, they were actually eating barbecue. So, that effect that they were actually eating barbecue behind, obviously it's behind the scenes, but, on film, it makes it look like they're... It wasn't raw. They cooked it. They might have just put stuff on it to make it look more raw.
There was a lot
but it was in black and white.
Yeah, there was a lot of things you can hide in black and white.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like Hitchcock was known for like using chocolate syrup?
Yeah.
For blood?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Psycho?
Yeah.
The scene in Psycho that's going down the stream?
It's syrup?
That's chocolate syrup.
That's crazy.
I squeeze
That makes
out of chocolate syrup.
That makes me look at the whole scene like just completely differently.
Yeah.
No, you know, people always go, "You're just a film fanatic," and like maybe you just don't like modern movies. But there's just something so much more. It's almost more simple, but also the appreciation for older films like Psycho. You know, they were able to pull it off with just these simple stuff, and then you watch movies today that have an abundance of gore and these good effects, but the movie sucks. Yeah. The writing sucks. Yeah. The directing sucks. The acting sucks. Yeah. Everything about the movie just sucks, and you're like,
this is leaning on the effects.
Yeah, they're just leaning on effects, and it's like, you know, I don't, you know, if I wanted to watch a movie practically just for like the gore or the jump scares, you know, yeah, there's a time and place, but I don't want that to be just every single horror movie that comes out these days, you know? Mm-hmm. And sometimes, and another thing about Night of the Living Dead, it was an independent movie. You know, George A. Romero didn't have funding from a major corporation or a major movie studio. He damn near funded it himself. You know, I don't want to twist any facts. You know, I know most of it was probably him and whoever was involved. But for the fact it was an independent movie. And a lot of good movies are independent. You know, they didn't have that. I mean, Evil Dead is another horror movie.
The original? Mm-hmm. Okay. That makes sense, though, why Evil Dead would, you know what I mean? Like, who would want to put their money behind that? Like, what studio? Mm-hmm. But it was you know what I mean? That's how you get the little hidden gems.
Yeah, no, it is. But Night of the Living Dead, you know, it was independent. They took some risk, and for at least until the 90s, every zombie movie that came out, that was, whether it was George A. Romero making, you know, Dawn of the Living Dead and all the other sequels, was everything followed the formula of Night of the Living Dead. It wasn't until the 90s that we got, like, 28 Days Later. And now we saw that more rabid zombie, you know, created by...
And some type of...
Like, virus. Yeah. That's when, like, the genre changed again. But from, like, the 50s to the 90s, you had that was the mold.
Yeah, like, we're just fighting zombies off in some weird area.
Yeah, and it's amazing that for that long, that was the mold, you know? It's amazing.
I feel like it's because the whole idea of just, like, this, like, you're all alone. Everybody you know is a zombie. Mm-hmm. Like, no, resources are,
resources are scarce. And
not only that, but just, like, people are, you know what I mean? Like, that just whole concept can, like, almost hold its own, you know what I mean? Like, cause, like, anybody that just could, like, kind of put themselves in that situation, like, would actually, like, create some fear, like, oh, what if I was by myself, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know there's all these zombies out here that will just throw themselves at me as if I just in the area, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, like, I feel like because of that, it kind of why, like, certain movies can, well, zombies, for instance, can kind of, like, keep reusing that, like you said, keep doing that same kind of plot, and like people still like it.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, once until we got, you know, movies like 28 Days. I'm not saying 28 Days Later was like the first one to have like that more type of like, oh, you know, they're more rabid now or anything like that. But you know, around that time frame is when you got the difference of they're no longer just your stereotypical zombie. You know, they started to change the mold a bit. And then in the 2000s, you know, well, there was a big genre. There was, you know...
There was that one that came out when they were in the mall.
Oh, they just remade Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, that was just a remake.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that whole, like...
Yeah, they remade it, but, you know, still a
good movie. I feel like you have, like, the Dawn of the Dead, and then you have the 28 Days Later. Like, those are the two different ones. Like,
yeah.
Like, we're just, like, kind of trying to fight off the zombies wherever we kind of are, and the effects just happen. And you have the one where it's like, oh, the main character is a cop and his wife just happens to work at the CDC. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh yeah, she's a nurse or something. That's like they're in to try to like solve the
mystery.
The mystery of the virus, you know what I mean? And kind of trying to find a cure or something. All the while they gotta stay alive, you know what I mean? And like that premise I like, but like I really kinda like that whole just like we're just locked up in the mall, y'all. Like this is what it is. This is what it is. You know what I mean? We're not the World War Z, like we're running country to like I don't feel like that was too. I like World War Z, but like I don't think it was too realistic that this guy's just like country to country to country.
No,
country,
he
country.
was in like the right spot like every time.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like if this was the real zombie apocalypse, like bro, so many shit would have just got knocked off before any of this happened.
How about you, Professor? Have you seen the original Night of the Living Dead?
I have not. As you know, I'm not that big of a a history or not history horror buff.
I know you're not into horror, but you would enjoy watching it. One, it's not scary, but then two, I think you enjoy it for its story and everything.
Yeah, I think the reason why I'm not really that into horror is like you said, because of all the jump scares. Like, I just don't like that.
No,
but if it's
it is. It really is.
But I am a big fan of big suspense.
So you definitely are like a Hitchcock fan.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, going back to George A. Romero, Dawn of the Dead probably was the best sequel out of all of them. The reason being was because, I haven't seen every single one of his movies, so disclaimer. But I do know, Night of the Living Dead broke the mold. And then, it kind of seemed like maybe the movies kind of followed that same routine until Dawn of the Dead, where everyone was now trapped in the mall. It was a different type of setting once again. I feel like that's why a lot of people consider it to be the best one of the sequels. And I mean, it's really kind of genius. Because think about it, you're in a mall. You're in a place that has an abundance of supplies and stuff, You can just hold out for a while. I thought it was pretty, if you can hold up there, make sure they can't get in, you could probably stay there for a good while.
Yeah, malls seem to be like one of the best places.
Or either go to a mall or like a storage place. You know what I mean?
Oh, like a Costco?
Yeah, like a Costco or like somewhere where
that would be
where Target, kind of the feeding area for Target.
Yeah, no, literally, like that would be like great places. But what was I gonna say? But like I said, after Dawn of the Dead, then you had 28 Days Later came out, and then that's when the zombies got popular in video games, because as we know in the 90s, started getting those first-person shooters, and that's where you got Dead Island and Resident Evil. Oh yeah. That's when these games started getting big.
Speaking of being in a mall, Dead Rising was also a thing. A reporter that's
that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's another trope one. The reporter that's just trying to get the scoop on the story.
Dude, Dead Rising was an awesome game.
Oh yeah. Trying to think what other video games. And then of course, I think it wasn't until Call of Duty World at War is when you got. That's right, I remember. You beat World at War, you're watching the credits, after the credits go, you're back again in the game, and you're like, wait, the game's there's more? And now you're in zombies.
Ooh.
That's how it was originally done. I had it remastered for PS3. Oh no, it's gone. I used to have it for PS3 remastered, and now you can just on the menu select zombies or the regular story. But
so back then you had to beat the whole game before you
didn't know. Yeah, that was the genius marketing. I mean, quote me wrong if anyone's listening. I'm wrong, but I believe. How it went was in the original one when it came out for, what would it be, PS2?
I think PS2.
Yeah, PS2. You beat the game, credits roll, all of a sudden, you're back playing, what's this? And now you're in zombies. And I think maybe after, if you did die, I think you didn't have to beat the game again. I think it was then an option, it came up. Yeah. But it was hidden. You didn't know. And I'm like, dude, that's genius.
That's what I miss about, video games now, because a game releases and then 3 hours later all of the secrets are revealed.
Yeah, that is kind of
and you
try to have to really network with the homies and try to figure out who knew what and who really was so good at the game that they could get that far in the game and beat the
you try to stay spoiler free, but your eyes glimpse a really a thumbnail on YouTube
because
it's literally the secret that you're trying to hide from yourself, and you're like, damn it!
There's so much about
remember when it was remember you? I know you remember. I don't know if you were into Pokemon, but I know,
dude. I'm
everybody
still
knows
into Pokemon.
That feeling that you got when you got past the Snorlax.
Yeah.
Everybody, and I remember being at school asking the homies, how did y'all get past the Snorlax? Because this moment when I wake up.
So, the Snorlax, I'm assuming you're talking about Fire Red.
Not even Fire Red.
Red version?
Red version, yeah.
That game was the most confusing at that part.
Mm-hmm. You got to that point, you're doing so good, and then it seemed like you were just there for a good week, 2 weeks.
You beat Misty, and then you try to go south to Saffron, but you can't because the guard's blocking your way. So you have to go to Rock Tunnel
to get to Lavender Town. Which, how many people on their first try died in Rock Tunnel? Because one, it's dark. all the freaking Zubats, and then you think you get to the end and your rival shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, like, with your first
and then
playthrough,
you like, wipe out and you're back to the entrance of Rock Tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh! The feeling, man.
You got, like, no money to, like, buy potions and stuff, so now you just gotta grind and train. No, I clearly remember my first playthrough on Yellow. Yellow was my first one, actually, not Red or Blue.
Yellow?
I had Yellow. I actually still got it. It's in my Game Boy theme.
I still have Red, yeah.
Actually, I think I seen it when I was going through it.
But yeah, like, even, like, when you hit Lavender Town, you get the Poke Flute from the top of the tower, but you can't enter the tower until you have the Sylph Scope. And you can't get the Sylph Scope until after you beat, like, Celadon.
Yeah.
It was so stupid, unless you did the Pokédoll trick. But anyway, back to zombies.
Hold on, I'm on this Pokemon rant right now.
Okay.
I remember my first time getting to the Snorlax, being totally confused, and for some reason or another, I didn't go up that tower. Maybe because I didn't know how to get the Sylph Scope. So I got super strong, and then once I finally got up there and I got the flute and I was able to go there, I forgot what level the Snorlax was.
30.
30 days.
My strongest was like level 42, and like my weakest was like level 38.
Man.
So I was kind of disappointed now because now I caught it, and he's like the weakest of my Pokemon if I wanted to use
it.
it.
It wasn't even worth using.
Yeah, I remember being
he's
so
like a
disappointed.
tank, though, if you get him at the right time. Like he can just tank for you for a good few gems.
Bro, check out. So I stopped collecting Pokemon at 3rd generation. I got Emerald. I played it. And I think that
I
was
never got to the DS ones.
Yeah, that was the thing. I had my SP. The DS came out. We were we're hurting for time, so it's not like oh my gosh. It's not like Nightstalker's getting a
write this down.
It's not like Nightstalker's getting a new system for Christmas. So I never got into it. And then once I kind of saw other people playing, probably like you, Professor, I kind of saw it. I was kind of like, oh, I'm so out of it now. I'm older.
You got left behind.
Yeah. But on my Emerald version, I'm almost done with the Pokedex. Yes, I remember this. I have like a level 100 Snorlax. Yeah, so like the Pokemon that I really like Snorlax, Tyranitar, anything that wasn't on Legendary that I did think was cool, I got up to like level 100 and I was just like ready to rock. And then I had no friends, so I didn't battle anybody.
Dude, that was the worst time to try like a battle, because like the big Pokemon craze ended at like Gold and Silver.
Yeah,
and then like all your friends didn't have like 3rd generation, and it sucked.
Yeah. No, and I mean, like, I thought about it, but then at the same time, it's like, besides anyone who might have Gym 1, 2, and 3, I'm like, there's no reason for me to get into the new games, to transfer my Pokemon over, because it's like, who am I really going to play with? Like, I got you, Professor. I actually got you too, Smokey. But, like, no, I don't think any of us will have, like, the newest games, So it just kind of be like, alright, what generation, like, do you still play?
I mean, I still got my SP and my if you got the linker cable,
I got the linker cable and I got the wireless adapter.
You still got your wireless adapter? I had one, but I don't know if I used to have the Game Shark too, but I know the Game Shark for sure.
I have a Game Shark, and I had Hansy, as we'll call him. I had him because I didn't know how to do the coding and stuff, so he did it for me, and that's how I got my legendary Pokemon. Yeah. So now my Game Shark is like up to date, like Pokeballs.
So it'll work with anyone, like if I hook into your.
You go into the game, you plug your game in the Game Shark, your Game Shark turns on,
and you go into the Pokemon.
Well, you look and you see what games are on it, and then when you find your game, you click on it, and it'll tell you like which cheats are available. And back to video games, real quick. I'm not saying, obviously, no one should endorse cheating. I always would tell you gotta cheat to win your 8 loss. But in video games, remember when you could type in cheat codes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the hot coffee, the infamous hot coffee in GTA.
Yeah.
The book you used to get, like, with all the cheats in it? I forget what it's called, but, like, you used to get it at the little book fair.
I remember, yeah. All the GTA cheats, infinite money, these guns, all of this, that
famous Konami code for Contra.
I've heard of that.
Oh, Konami, like, the Yu-Gi-Oh game?
Up, down, left, right, BA.
My boy got it memorized.
Dude, that code is famous.
Yeah, it is.
Believe you.
But like new games these days, it's just like one, everything is just so straightforward, and then two, it's like pay to win, or you pay for
you
DLC.
gotta buy all the stuff.
You know, and also just the Easter eggs in games aren't like. I'm not saying there ain't no Easter eggs in games because there are, but like I feel like it's not as abundant as it was in like games back in the day, where it's like you could find whether it was funny glitches or like the publishers put something funny in the game that you would find. You know, you don't really see that no more.
My favorite example of like this, you have to like research how to do it. You gotta learn either from like scrolling through the game itself, or like from a friend or from the internet. Back to Pokemon. You remember in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, the Reggies?
Yes,
the Reggies.
I remember the Reggies.
There was this cave.
The Reggies were like the ice,
steel and rock.
Yeah. There's this cave you can find, and like when you dive, and it had Braille.
Yes.
Like you click on it, and it's Braille, and so you have to like learn what it says, or you can just read like what it says online, and then you have to find like specific Pokemon, put them to like specific slots in your party.
Yeah.
And then you open up a cave, like the cave ruins that you find randomly throughout the game, and you're like, huh, what does this do? And then you go inside, and there's like more Braille, and you have to do that to actually open the chamber.
Yeah,
I thought those were
one
cool.
of them was like walk this way, walk this, walk the way, and now use strength, and then you did, and then boop, it'll open. Yeah, I remember that. Funny story on Leaf Green. Okay, did you play Leaf Green?
Yes, I did. I played Fire Red.
Okay, remember when you beat the Pokemon League, how you fight Team Rocket again on those islands? Mm-hmm. So, when I got to that part in Leaf Green, I got to the island, I got to that one part they're hiding in, but, see, we didn't really have internet. I know, that sounds crazy, but we didn't have internet, so I wasn't able just to look stuff up. So, when I got there and I saw it was like all these dots, I actually didn't know it was Braille. So I was like, oh, okay, like, I guess I'll just not go into this cave. So it took years later when I figured out it was Braille, that, because I was playing Emerald, and I, was going after the Reggies. So I did that, and I was like, wait a minute, this is the same thing, so I plug in my Leaf Green, and now I'm able to read it. So I go to it, and it's like, use cut. So I use cut. I go inside with my level 100 Pokemon, and I just wipe everyone. And I once again am disappointed because I get to...
That's your own fault, though, for playing the game in a way that you just, like, skill milled your way to the top, and then just smack mode on everybody.
Well, like, the thing was, when I first got the game, I was at a point in my life where, one, didn't have internet, I wasn't able to look up stuff, but then two, I had no friends. I was homeschooled. I had no friends. So once I finally had Emerald, I at least had internet. I think I was in middle school, so having friends was debatable. But I finally now was able to go online, figure out Braille, and then was like, oh yeah, I wonder what that game's like. But in that game, all I did was, I was like, oh, I can't figure this out. I just went and trained and beat the Elite Four again, and now I had like level 100 Pokemon. So I go in, I'm just walking through like, oh yeah, this probably would have been really fun if I like wasn't at this level. I get the Giovanni's strongest Pokemon's like level 60. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cute. Yeah, he should take a look at my Lugia. He's like level 100, dog.
Yeah. No, I clearly remember like trying to like ask friends to figure out like what was what, certain different spots, especially in Pokemon. You know what I mean? Like, or like how to get, once you like beat the Elite Four, like, okay, what do we do now? Like, how do I get all the Pokemon? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And like, I have one friend that you guys know too, but like he used to have like all the games too the same games I would have, and like, but he would always for some reason like, I don't know if it was just the time or something, he had more time to play them, but he seemed to always like have way more shit than I did in all the games. So I would always be over at his house trying to like leak all the fucking like tricks and stuff. I was trying to get him out of it, you know what I mean? Because he'd tell you half the shit, but he won't tell you everything. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, we're still battling. So I'm like, bro, how do I get there and get that Pokemon, bro? Like, stop playing with me.
Who was it?
Mason.
Oh yeah.
I remember my brother and I used to play, and he always used to beat me for the most part. But it's always because he wanted to battle, and he always seemed to have stronger Pokemon. So then I'd train up, and battle him. And I remember, like, probably after beating him, like, once or twice, and clearly it was, like, one-sided, he stopped playing me.
He was over it.
He was over it. There was something else I was going to say on Pokemon real quick, and I
definitely had to, like, learn that one, too. Like, in video games, like, if you want to have people play with you, sometimes you can't, like, just smack them hella hard out.
Yeah.
No. Or they will find no joy in it. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to, like, let them in, and then they give them one little spanking, a real good time after they got the game down. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is what's really good.
I think some years ago I played my younger cousins, and I just straight up asked them, I was like, what's your strongest Pokemon you're fighting me with? And they were like, level, like, 50 or something. I was like, alright, hold on, let me go make sure I got that, and if I don't, give me, like, an hour. And so, yeah, get something together. Yeah. But, no, it's funny, all my Pokemon I really like are, like, at, like, level 100, so even if, like, someone's like, oh, let's fight, like, level 50s, I'd be like, oh, yeah, let me assemble a team real quick. Because all the ones I do want to use are not at that level.
There are ways to battle and then, like, de-level your Pokemon to that level.
For real?
Yeah.
Is that in the newer stuff?
I thought it was in the older ones. I think there's, like, a level 30 format in...
Okay, I've heard of that.
3rd gen.
I think it might be in, like, 3rd gen, you could make to where, like, there's a cap or something somehow. You know
well,
what I mean?
I remember, in even the old ones, it was, if your Pokemon got too strong and you didn't have a certain badge, they wouldn't listen to you.
Yeah.
So it was, like, a cap.
But, like, this is, like, I don't know, remember how, like, in the 3rd gen, and so you used to start to have these little, like, weird, like, battle royale and different, like, type of modes you could play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That made it to where it wasn't just straight, like, link, trade, and battle anymore.
Yeah.
I mean?
No, there was a lot more options.
Yeah.
Like, in Emerald, there was this island that, like, you go to, and it has, like, these, it's not even, like, gyms. It's this weird...
It's like a battle royale.
Yeah, it's like this weird battle royale fiend. And, like, someone fought me with, like, and this is in the game, they fought me with an Entei. And I'm just like, wait, what?
Oh, the Battle Frontier.
Battle Frontier, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I might beat it all. Or at least I left off on one. Because it was, like, timed or something like that.
I didn't know it was time.
Yeah, those are really hard challenges.
Yeah, I feel like those
those challenges were hard.
I
I'm actually... Now that I'm thinking back, I'm looking back on how many I completed, I'm like, wow, I really had no life. Because I was smacking people. But then the bigger challenge, too, was they went with Pokemon that were that was your strongest. So I went in with all level 100s, and they were at one level 100s, and I'm just like, oh man, this is tough.
And it's like when they computer generated, like they got all the best, like
they can hit every turn.
Best move sets, they're hitting every turn. Did you? I hate when like you would play like and somebody would like you'd be playing against some like Pokemon that would just double team the fuck out of you until you just couldn't even touch them. It's like, bro, stop double teaming. Like, evading all my moves.
I'm an aggressive player. All my Pokemon though just attack moves, high power attack moves, and
I never learned skill buffers.
Yeah, like I do that when training. I skill buff so that my Pokemon get really strong. But once they're at level 100, I'm like, no, you're learning Earthquake, you're learning Hyper Beam. You know, you're just gonna smack people. Like that is where we're going with this. But back to the zombies. Got on that little rant real quick. You know, the 2000s was that time, though, when they really hit their stride.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when, like I said, 28 days, 28 weeks later came out. In the later 2000s, Zombieland came out, which was huge. I'm trying to...
Zombieland?
Like 09, 08? 09! I have to remember that. I'm not gonna...
Yeah, because Zombieland 2 came out
last year. It was 10 years later.
Yeah.
We all went. We had a fabulous time.
I didn't even notice that until we were walking out, that it was literally like 10 years later. I knew it had been some years, but like 10 years?
Yeah, they released it 10 years later. And then, you know, like I said, Call of Duty, Black Ops 2, that's when they had they had zombies, and it was, in my opinion, like, the best zombie maps and stuff. That's when you had, like, Farm and Transit. Like, I would play with friends for hours on zombies.
I could not stand zombies, bro. That's like, I like scary movies, but like something about scary video games, I cannot do.
Well, zombies isn't scary because you're just
Scary to
shooting.
me, bro. Like when you're running around and you hear the motherfuckers like
every fifth round and the dogs come out. Oof.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I can play the first 4 rounds perfectly, but come round 5, I'm down.
Yeah,
like
I
I'm
don't-
just
Dude,
falling.
it's scary.
I don't think the dogs were in Black Ops 2 yet, but like
They were. I remember playing Black Ops 1. They had dogs.
maybe you're right. Maybe, you know what? It's difficulty. It was based on your
Oh.
difficulty.
So you've been playing the easy difficulties.
I was playing with my sisters, man. You really expect me to put them on veteran?
I was playing with my sister too.
She's older.
And I was playing in a room by myself. That's why I was scared.
No, I mean, I will go out and buy a PS3 just to replay, because they haven't re-released it for PS4. I'm hoping they do for
They
PS5.
are, or they haven't.
They haven't.
Oh.
No, if they did, I'd be on it. Because Black Ops 2 was so fun. You had gun game was introduced.
That was a good one, yeah.
Yeah, like the things you can do in the regular version and in zombie mode. That's
what
like
made playing Black Ops with the friends.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing I was just about to segue into about video games. Playing with friends in the actual same room. Like obviously you got Smash Bros. We're all in the same room. We can play with like 8 people. But like you don't see games come out anymore that's like multi.
That's really designed for the multiplayer.
Yeah, the split screen.
The split screen.
You know?
Split screen multiplayer. Halo was
That was the time of like
that was
Halo,
split screen.
Call of Duty,
Yeah.
like Modern Warfare 2, I think.
Yeah, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 still had it. Black Ops,
I
Black
remember
Ops
when
2.
Modern Warfare, like, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 that was one of them, but like, the screen that, like, depending on like by bit, like there was the 4 spots, right? There was one that was like always better for some reason. I don't
If you
exactly
played
remember
3 players and you were player free, you had the whole bottom. Player 1 and 2 had the top.
Exactly. You had the whole.
You always
bottom
wanted to
screen,
be player free if you were doing 3 players.
Yeah, I always remember that there was one way, like, to where like we're playing split screen, but somebody's got the better split. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, then they made it where you can edit it, where now every screen's the same size. It was just like black on the sides. But you can, if you want to, you can go into settings and you can make it go boop and be full.
Yeah, I would always be playing with my homie Adrian and Esteban. So yeah,
I was playing with you guys.
Yeah,
That was like as we entered high
that's when-
school.
Yeah, that's when I used to play all the time with those guys.
Yeah.
I brought you up. I remember that. It's a good time.
I miss local multiplayer.
Local.
Like, I really miss it.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like Nintendo's the only one that does it nowadays.
Yeah,
it
Nintendo,
really is
but,
because
and it's more because of the nostalgia.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, see, that's Nintendo's edge. It's nostalgia, but and some people will go, "Oh, not another Mario game," but I'm like, but for some fiends, like the multiplayer, being local and stuff, like that's huge.
Yeah,
because we don't see that no more.
yeah, like just being in the room, driving all on the same screen. You know what I mean? Like we're all looking at the same screen,
Mhm.
driving, racing each other and stuff. Like yeah.
Oh yeah, like Mario parties and stuff. Oh, I gotta get one of those.
Like it's fun.
I gotta get a Switch
it's fun
first.
to like play multiplayer online. You know what I mean? But like it is a different vibe when you're playing it in the same room. And like I feel like a lot of the games are not made like they have multiplayer, but it's only online now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no multiplayer, just local multiplayer.
Yeah.
Very few games nowadays make it like that. You know.
I remember Black Ops came out, and me and my sister played the co-op campaign. Because you
Oh,
could play
yes,
the
you
campaign
can.
co-op.
Oh, you could.
But then,
Yeah.
I
but-
don't even know. I didn't even know that.
But then, like, Black Ops 2 came out, and then, like, they took away the co-op
Mhm.
thing. And it's
that's
like, what the
such a
heck?
That's a weird.
No,
like,
me and Mechanic Boy, as we'll call him. We played World at War for PS3 together, campaign mode, and that guy made me do it on veteran.
Yeah, he was good at the shooter.
Veteran AI cheats.
They do.
Like, they
He was
just
the one
shoot
that put
through
me on.
walls.
He's the one that remember we used to always play. What was the one? Left 4 Dead. Remember the zombie?
Oh
one?
yeah, that's another
Yeah,
good
it
time
was
for
the Left 4
zombies.
Dead.
Left 4 Dead.
I remember, I was in college, and, like, me and my friends would go to, like, internet cafes, like, during our downtime,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd play Left 4 Dead 2. And we played through the entire game, like, eventually.
That's
You're so Asian. We go to internet cafes.
I went to college abroad, so...
Okay, yeah, you're out of country. Yeah, that makes
He
sense.
was in the Southeast Seas.
What country? Okay, you're in.
Yeah.
Oh, That makes sense. Yeah, because like I could totally see like internet cafe, like Korea or like down Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, you guys are out here going to the internet cafe. Like, you guys got to be looking for it now. Like, it's not even just like in your face. Like,
here you just go to cafes and bring your laptop.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
that's what I did during college. I lived with my grandma, had no internet, so I either go to college campus or I go to Starbucks just to get on the internet. Yeah. You know, I'm doing some home renovations, as you guys know. As soon as I'm done, I was telling Professor this. As soon as I'm done, like, I got the concrete done, all the art stuff, I want to have, like, a barbecue and have, like, the homies come over. But I want to do, like, some gaming like that. I want to do, like, not just Smash, because Smash is fun as hell. I love it. But, like, I don't actually. I do not have a Switch. It will be something I reward myself with later this year. Big plans. But, you know, I want to do some other games that have, like, that multiplayer, like, local theme, you know?
Halo is a good one.
Someone brings their Xbox One. They have the Master Chief Collection.
Oh yeah,
it's over, man. You do the zombie infection mode.
Oh,
remember when everyone's like all the zombies are moving at 200 times speed, and you're trying to like kill them, but they have like hammers that one shot you.
Yeah, everybody's got the weird the hammer.
Everyone's just shooting in a circle, like ah. But, you know, I know you brought up Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, and yeah, that was that time in the 2000s where zombies were, like, at that peak. You had those games, you had some of the Resident Evil sequels. I think, what was the really good Resident Evil game that everyone loved? Yeah, like Resident Evil 4, that's when, like, that came out, and, trying to think if there's any other big zombie game. Well, like I said, Call of Duty had their zombie mode, you know, the movies that were coming on at the time, you know, Zombieland came out, and then Walking Dead came out around the same time, like either 2009 or 2010. You know, that was that peak. And then after that, you know, the market was so saturated, that's when they were like, okay, we gotta change.
I feel like I feel like that was like the climax, right?
Yeah.
You got a climax, you got a peak, right? You got the climax, which is where like that like 010, where like all the games are good, like everything's at boo boo. And then like I feel like the peak was World War Z. World War Z came out, and like that was the peak.
And that's
like,
just went.
And then after that, peaks, and then because like we never got a World War Z 2.
Yeah.
Even though that movie did hella good. You know what I mean, and it was like
it took forever. And you know, funny enough, during that time, to talk about literature, a lot of zombie books, World War Z, the book came out, huge success.
Abe Lincoln Zombie Slayer.
Yeah, like that's how saturated it got.
I thought it was a Vampire Slayer.
Vampire.
No,
they
it
were
was Pride
like
and Prejudice and Zombies.
Yeah, no,
you're right. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
I actually like that movie though. I'm not gonna lie. I watched that movie a few times. I weirdly kind of have a like for it. That is like a weird like. I don't know. Maybe it was just like the time that I watched the movie. Like I watched it at times where like I could just really feel it for some reason. But like. Yeah, it was just this weird movie that I watched, and then I watched the first time, and then I watched the second time with my homie Ramon, and fucking like he's like, I'm like, bro, I got this movie, bro. It's like I'm about to show you this dope movie, bro. Let's stay up late. We're gonna watch this movie, bro. Like, like fuck everybody else. I'm getting the remote. I don't care what anybody wants to watch. Like, we're in a house full of like 15 guys. Like, I don't care. Like, we're watching Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. But
yeah, no, that peak though, that was some good times. Because, you know, like every trend, it's like, oh, we need to reinvent it, you know, keep it fresh still. But that's where you got games like Dying Light that came out, and now you had like and also the movie World War Z. Now the zombies are super fast. The virus, you get bit, your turn's in like 15 seconds.
Wasn't that around the time with Walking Dead?
Walking Dead came out, but Walking Dead was a little more of a throwback. They had that whole...
They definitely started with different type of, more old school type of zombie vibes.
They offered, I think, George A. Romero to direct the first episode. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he did or not. I can't remember.
Episode or something.
Yeah, they wanted to direct the pilot.
And let's not all forget the work of art that is High School of the Dead.
Resistance.
High School of the Dead.
The anime?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never watched it, but I've seen.
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
It's a lot of people say it's like trash because of the fan service. But
like
I watched
the fans are so into it or
No,
something?
no, no.
Fan-
You know what
fan
fan service in
service.
anime is, right?
Is that like where they make the weird like half porn, half anime shit?
Yeah.
Or what is it? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's
But like
it.
I watched it and it really took like what you said, where it was just like a bunch of people surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like exactly like that, except it touched more on like humans and how they like
Yeah, the emotional
Yeah.
response.
I feel like that's what Walking Dead really showed us. Like okay, you got the like we're just like stuck somewhere fighting zombies. Okay, now we're fighting the super virus. You got to solve the fly around the world and work against the evil CDC, World Health Organization, poison us all. You got that one, and then you got like the Walking Dead that kind of introduced the like the dynamic of like how would people really act amongst the still living. You know what I mean? Like that's why I really liked Walking Dead, because like it wasn't even really about zombies. Like zombies are just kind of like the rules of the world or the rules of the road that we all kind of operate.
Yeah, no, it
You know
focused
what I
on the human like interactions and
Yeah,
stuff, which
right.
was huge. I mean, The Walking Dead,
Under those
it's gone
conditions.
on way too long.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It kind of started somewhere.
But when it first started, it really was a good.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like those first few seasons were really like okay, now he finds his people, but like he got this best friend that kind of like that whole like I feel like it was real more so about like the people and how they interact with the people more so than like okay, we have the zombie movies where it's like the people versus the zombies over on the other side.
No, because you have that's the brilliance of TV shows. You can get more development out of your characters. I mean, you can do it in movies, obviously, but like for something like an epic, obviously, the more time you have to develop them, the more the story can really progress. You know? But yeah, that's when they reinvented it with some like Dying Light. You had in World War Z, you had the super fast zombies, and then in Dying Light, you had the zombies that were like they had like this weird like UV thing. They only came out at night to hunt. Mm-hmm. So in the daytime, that's when like you would try to do your thing, and then like nighttime, it's like get in shelter right away. They had the cities walled off and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, that's when they made a movie called Warm Bodies. And I was like, this is the decline of zombies.
I feel like also you have like another branch off from zombies, which is like the movies that are kind of like not so much zombie, but like zombie-esque. Like that one movie that had like it was called like Cell or something, where all the people were like possessed by some weird cell phone like virus that made them run around and do like zombie-like shit. Like,
you mean the Crazies?
No, that's another one I was gonna say though. The
Crazies,
there was the Crazies,
one.
Yeah. Slither or something, the one where the things will go in your mouth.
Oh yeah. The parasitic host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that kind of like.
Let's not forget the most famous, the most popular zombie game ever, Minecraft.
I didn't even I never was on the Minecraft hype. You know how long it took me to figure out that there was a secret zombie thing to Minecraft?
It's not even a secret. It's literally 10 minutes into the game.
I didn't even know what the whole Minecraft thing was. That one totally just went over my head.
You wanna know what's really funny? Fortnite, as big as that game is, it was actually Battle Royale was a second option when you go on the main menu. Mm-hmm. It was the main theme was Horde mode. It was a zombie game.
Okay, that kind of.
But the Battle Royale is what made it take off.
That kind of fort type stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of fight zombies at the same time.
Yeah. So that's what I think that's kind of funny is how it was initially supposed to be a zombie game. Now it's just this Battle Royale.
Because the Battle Royale was kind of a newer thing than the zombie thing. Because we already had Black Ops. You know what I mean? We already kind of did the whole.
Yeah, you had a lot more people to be in it, and now it's just full of 12-year-olds telling you that they banged your muffin.
I was gonna say that they're fucking your wife, girlfriend, and or mom, all at the same time. You're a nigga, bitch ass spick, and this is a white boy from the suburbs telling you all of this.
I'll show you guys this video afterwards. It's this guy who's playing. He's just trolling these 12-year-olds. And, this one 12-year-old's like, oh, why don't you shut the F up? And he's just like, hey, I don't care if you're 12. We'll square up on you. But, I always kind of wonder myself if zombies will ever make a comeback. Because I know you knew. I don't know if I ever told you. Because it was right after high school. And I know you went somewhere and I went somewhere. But, I wanted to make a web series at one point that was zombie-based. Because at the time, obviously, I really loved zombies. But I wanted to go for more of that Night of the Living Dead feel of like I wanted to get back to basics with it.
The old school,
yeah, that was where I wanted to go.
It was getting too kind of saturated and kind of blown. Too much like not about the zombie, like the raw zombies.
Yeah, no, I like obviously character development's important, but I was like, we're forgetting about the main antagonist of your story, the zombies.
I feel like that is a real dope thing though, like the whole that like zombies are kind of like in their own, just like so like raw that they could almost carry themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of an antagonist that like doesn't speak, doesn't really you know what I mean?
And
Only
they're
interacts
not
with you in like a violent kind of way.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean?
they can't be intimidated. They don't have any fear.
Yep.
Yeah,
like when you're around them, there's only one thing going on. You know what I mean? Like
but
this is the main antagonist.
Yeah, and like sure, in a group of like in a small group, like maybe one guy versus like 10 zombies, totally doable. But one guy versus 100, it's like your only option is to run. You're not fighting 100 zombies.
Like, that's the other thing I think about zombies. That always fucked with me. It's like with like vampires, like there's like maybe one vampire or a group of vampires. There's usually one mummy, wolfman, maybe a group, maybe one. Zombies, there are hundreds, thousands, millions. You know what I mean? So it's like it's literally you against the world. You know what I mean? Like in like the most literal sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like everybody is against you, and they're all just like ravenous. You know what I mean? So they're coming after you with there's no reasoning. You know what I mean? Like I said, you could almost kind of reason with vampires, kind of. So sometimes you kind of reason with the wolf man when he's in his human form. You could reason with him.
Yeah, maybe
and,
even
what was the other one that
the mummy?
The mummy.
Yeah, there's no reasoning with the mummy.
There's no reasoning with the mummy neither. But
he's scared of cats.
You stay away from where the mummy usually stays near his sarcophagus and in Egypt. So unless you're going to the mummy's place, the mummy doesn't come looking for you. He doesn't have to hunt and feed like the vampire. You know what I mean? Or like the wolf. So like you kind of avoid them. But like the zombies, they're coming for you. The zombies are not only are they coming for you, but they're just kind of everywhere because like they get bit and they just kind of wander. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you can't go anywhere safe.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
And something I liked about 28 Weeks Later was it showed that the zombies starved to death, and they couldn't really eat each other, so they just starved to death. Obviously, of course, the movie has a plot, and they come back.
How they come back, yeah.
But
I
the
like
whole
that
thing
idea.
is you need to survive
longer than they are.
Longer than they do.
Yeah,
which is
I
hard.
like that idea because I feel like a lot of zombie movies, they kind of just went in the whole like zombies just here. You know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
I like how 28 Days Later.
It kind of showed the after effects, like what happens years later.
Not only that, but like the zombies have to eat. You know what I mean? Like, they're undead, but they're not just gonna wander the earth forever. Once the humans are gone and they can't feed. You know what I mean? Like that's more kind of like how an animal or like you know what I mean kind of would react. It wouldn't just like wander with no food source. You know what I mean? Like so like I feel like that kind of made it more realistic because like. Even though it was a virus is still gonna have like look for a food source, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like instead of just being like these mindless zombies that like eat human flesh, but like for no weird reason, like once there's no humans, they just kind of like chill out now. You know what I mean? Like
start their own zombie community.
Yeah, zombie communities now. Like what's going on?
and I was talking about zombies, and today, like where are they going? Last year, Days Gone came out, which had a very I wouldn't say huge throwback vibe, because the zombies were pretty, like, some of them were fast. Not all of them, but some of them were fast. And the hordes, when you got into the horde, it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't say until someone, it always seems like this, I could be wrong, but it always seems like you have a trend that starts. It goes on, has that climax, then it declines. It always seems like when something comes back, it's either A, they reinvent it, or B, they get back to basics. And I feel like with zombies...
They refine it.
I feel like with zombies right now, because we tried reinventing it so many times, and then you had something like... You had iZombie come out, Warm Bodies, Dying Light, and I'm not...
I feel like some of those were kind of... I could see where they're kind of trying to go. More comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Like Warm Bodies and iZombie, like the main chick, she's a zombie, and then the other guy in Warm Bodies, he's a zombie, but he still has like consciousness.
Yeah, I feel like you lose the effect of
what it is. You make your main character the zombie, and you're like, wait,
it can't be a mindless animal.
Yeah.
At that point, just like kind of working on. instinct. You know what I mean?
It's like vampires in Twilight.
Yeah,
exactly.
Totally
When we talked about vampires, like that was
be.
you had the peak of vampires, and then Twilight is when they tried to reinvent it, and that's when vampires just lost. You know.
Yep. I feel like you could tell in that one because like I feel like Underworld, that series, and Twilight were kind of coming out together, and then you could kind of tell that as Twilight ended, Underworld kind of lost its steam, and like the sequels started coming out less, like because there was a point where it was like Underworld 1, Underworld 2, Underworld 3, Underworld 4, like year after year.
I was gonna say, how many Underworlds are there?
There's like 5 or 6.
You're right, there is like 5, huh?
Yeah, there's a good amount because I remember I've seen most of them.
I've actually gone to theater and seen some of them with you.
Yeah. One of my favorites.
We watched Rise of the Lycans together.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's the one where they went back in the past.
Yeah, that was the prequel. It was the third one in the series, but it was the prequel.
Yeah, there's another one after that.
And then they came out with the other one.
I think there's one after that, and there might be one more.
There's 5 altogether now. I remember.
Yeah.
There's 5 altogether. Yeah. And damn, Kate Beckinsale might really be a vampire because that chick don't age.
Yeah, she's good. Like, she's almost like the Resident Evil girl. Like,
yeah, Mila and Jonathan Majors, they are the same. They do not age.
It's like
they're like damn near 50, and they look incredible.
Yeah. And kind of like the alien girl kind of has it too, you know what I mean? Like, not as good, I don't think. Maybe not as good. Like the girl that plays the main character.
Sigourney Weaver?
I don't know. Bro, you think that? You drop these names like I'm gonna.
Oh, of course! No, you're right. Sigourney Weaver did look pretty well for like a lot of years.
Yeah, like I feel like she hung on to it pretty good for a good few years. You know what I mean? Like, where she kept coming back almost looking either the same or almost younger, like in the second one and the third one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally feel what you mean there. But no, I wonder where, I know we talked about vampires, and it's funny enough, I think it's funny how video games do this. Last year, was it last year or 2018, there was a game that came out called Vampire, and it had this fancy writing. It wasn't like the regular writing, but like, it kind of went back to basics, because you're essentially this vampire who's like a detective or a doctor, and you're trying to find out what's going on in Victoria-era London. And how you do part of it is you go bite people and you take their memories or something. So it's kind of cool how they went back to basics with a little spin. And I feel like Days Gone did the same thing with zombies. They like went back to basics with a little spin. I don't want to spoil.
They did call it Days Gone.
Yeah.
Like days in the past,
Yeah. But I'm not gonna say what. I never played Vampire. I did play Days Gone. Part of Days Gone's I liked, part of it I didn't. But that's irrelevant. It's just funny how you always seem to go back to basics after a certain point with certain trends. And I really wonder if we'll get another movie or TV show zombie related that will kind of go back to basics and will be like hot again,
Really catch steam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'd be down to make a little short zombie film.
It's gonna be
pilot series.
The main characters are zombies, and they band together in order to survive the humans that are hunting them.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I can see
From
that.
the other perspective?
Yeah, from the other perspective.
Well, one of George A. Romero's last movies, I forgot which one. He did a movie where it was, in a way, from the zombies' point of view. And it kind of like what you said, like, it kind of showed this one zombie, even though he was told mindless zombie, it kind of had his point of view of things going on. He was still mindless, though? He was still mindless, but, through plot and stuff, he survived and made it to the end, and he ended up killing the bad guy.
More kind of, human characteristics that come out.
With other zombies, yeah, because the zombies kind of band together, and they almost work like a pack.
Yeah, I feel like some movies, you have some. I was gonna say, I feel like some movies they give the zombie almost too much human characteristics, right? It loses the zombiness.
Yeah,
I feel like a good, almost happy kind of comedic medium was Z Nation. Mm-hmm. The funny little.
Oh my gosh, with the zombie baby.
The zombie baby and the two of them, how they. I like that kind of I like how they did him, but I feel like for a zombie movie that gave the zombie kind of more human characteristics that did it kind of well, that could be told from the zombie's perspective was the I Am Legend zombies. You remember how the I Am Legend zombies, they were still mindless zombies, but you could kind of see how they were kind of
like... They were vampires?
Well, they were more vampires, but they kind of were like
zombies. They had
zombies.
The same, I know. They were hordes.
They couldn't come out. They were they they ran in hordes. They kind of like, you know what I mean? They were like zombies pretty much, but they just like they just had the whole daytime thing.
Yeah.
Like vampires. So like
that movie was I remember when it came out, like that movie was huge.
Yeah.
But you remember how like even though they're vampires, they kind of run around and act like everybody kind of thought they were zombies. You know what I mean? It was kind of almost set like kind of end of the world. One man versus horde of zombies, not horde of vampires, but like you know what I mean. Like I feel like they were vampires, but I feel like that's like I was saying, like they never really said that they were either really vampires or zombies.
They called them something. I forgot.
Yeah, but they kind of played off that whole like zombie kind of vibe, like these people that have been kind of taken over.
Yeah, and I feel like that was the time when they really started to try to play with the mold. I feel like that's when they really started to play with what zombies were.
They into it better with that because I feel like that when they showed like that main bad vampire zombie, the leader guy, when he like got his little wife taken and she was being experimented on by the main character to get the cure, and like you could see how like that zombie then kind of like rallied the other zombies to then find where he was been hiding this entire time and then like attack him, like and they kind of attacked him as like kind of like
they killed his dog,
like a unit, you know what I mean? Like he was sending people in and stuff, and like I feel like that kind of like if they showed that from that perspective, like they're still zombies, they're mindless, but they're kind of almost like monkeys, like we look at it almost like an animal, like it's so like they run on instinct, but they still have like animal characteristics, but not so much human.
A very primitive.
Not so much primitive, but like how an animal is like an animal can love you, but like if it's hungry at the end of the day, go eat you.
Like
you know what I mean? Like, and you have to know that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, and nothing you can do gonna really change that. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like it would be better to show it from that perspective more so than like this is the zombie, but like it's totally tame and just can be around regular humans and not like eat people. But like, I don't feel like that's realistic because like a regular lion gonna be around a person and kill them. You know what I mean? Like that's not the regular lion that doesn't kill you when it's around the person. You know what I mean? So like I feel like they kind of lose the allure of it being a zombie when it can kind of just be around the people in the show and just be normal. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It loses what it was supposed to be, that fear and stuff.
Yeah. So like, I feel like a good like back to the basics would be like a where they're more zombie like that, but like they could still kind of have some like I said, like some kind of emotions or like more animalistic characteristics. You know what I mean? Like, but like kind of like how they, like you said, like the zombies kind of tribe up. You know what I mean? And like show it from that perspective. Like this is what zombies do when it's like the world's now full of zombies. There's very little humans, so like to survive and eat, the zombies have to now like kind of pack and band up together to go find the humans and eat them, because if we don't, we starve. So now we gotta fight against other zombies to keep areas where we think the humans are, you know what I mean? Plus the humans are doing their own little thing, trying to like bunker up and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their forces, so that's like, they're the antagonist or whatever, like, but like, I feel like that would be a dope, like, you know what I mean? Like, little series or something, like, now we got zombies just kind of like politicking as zombies though, you know what I mean? Like, you got an alpha zombie. You know what I mean? He kind of smacks motherfuckers around and show motherfuckers he's dominant. You know what I mean?
Right.
And sends motherfuckers out. You know what I mean? And then you got like in World War or Planet of the Apes, where you had the big main Caesar, right? But then you had Kuda B over here on the side. That was a little fuck nigga. But like, it was only because he was getting fucked with. Like they was experimenting on my dude, bro. They was slicing him open. Like no wonder he wanted to kill all the people. Like, I feel like it would be dope. Like, you had, like, a zombie that, like, he's a zombie, but, like, the way he became zombie, like, it wasn't so bad, so he kind of, like, but they gotta eat the humans. Like, people got to get eaten. That's the main thing. Like, there ain't no, like, zombies gonna be cured. It doesn't mean living with zombies, kumbaya. Hell nah.
Yeah.
But, like, it would be cool, like in Planet of the Apes, how it was, like, you had Caesar, he's the leader of the apes, and he kind of likes the humans, but like he knows like but we just can't get along.
He knows there's good and bad humans.
There's good and bad people, and this kind of conflict we have because of how things are. You know what I mean? Like, so like I feel like it would be dope. We had like the main leader, Alpha Zombie, right, in the show, the main character, and like he's like
he's got his little band of zombies, and then you got other zombie groups that are just like maybe bigger, but they just come through and they just wipe people out. You know what I mean? They slide through town, kill everything, right? But he might come through town and kind of be on the cuts and just kind of maybe pick people off, pick them off. You know what I mean? Pick them off. And like that might be working for him for a little bit. And he's trying to get all the zombies, right? He's trying to get all the people like, this is the way, you know, like you know how the vampires are, just pick them off. But we don't just come through and just fuck everything up. You know what I mean? Because like that's like the zombie way. You know what I mean? Like they slide through town, fuck everything up. It's like a looting, like a raid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like them motherfuckers come through. You know you're gonna get killed. Your son might get taken. Like this is the rules of warfare. So like I really think like you got this name zombie, like just like an alpha zombie, just like in like in I Am Legend, like how he was just kind of like, but it kind of seemed like he like at the same time like kind of like cared for his little like group. You know what I mean? Like when his girl got taken, he was distraught. He was out there. He was in the sun getting his face burnt off. Like no, you know what I mean? And proceeded to go on this whole like boop, like to where he like used the other guy's own trick against him. Like he's been plotting the whole time, but just been running around like a mindless zombie. You thought, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, I thought that shit. I really like that movie. That's a good movie. But,
yeah.
I'm done.
So, I know we haven't talked much about the zombie apocalypse, which is huge. That's because we'll talk about that next week in Zombies Part 2.
That's right, a two-parter.
Two-parter. You heard it here. Thanos just snapped. We're going to have to come back to see how they recover.
What would you do? Zombie Apocalypse Part 2.
Yeah, so hit us up on our social media, or Instagram, or YouTube, or what else we got? Twitter, or email, or fans only. You know, just so just
Smokey's doing OnlyFans requests.
It's hard times. So hit us up, and we'll see you next week for Zombies Part 2, The Zombie Apocalypse. This has been the Nightstalker Podcast. Good night, and good luck.